Hello everyone and welcome back again. Now let's keep working on our application. So in this lesson I would like to make a little bit organization. In the containers section, if I grab a group box, I would like just to organize my code a little bit, or excuse me, my user interface a little bit. So I'm going to drag these controls, so I drag the marquee around them, and then I will drag these controls inside and get this group box up, resized a little bit. Now let me grab these controls as well and keep some certain standard distance here. Now group boxes are really great for organization, so if I will rename this group box to something like contact info or information. There you go. Sorry, again, contact information. Okay, an example of a group box, you can find it again, the easiest place where I can find stuff. There you go, you see, recent files. These group of controls are concerned with the recent files. These group of controls or these group of options are concerned with visual appearance, and so on and so forth. It is really good to have a group box which defines, you know, like what are these controls for. So let me try to find another. I hope that you got the idea by now, because somehow I cannot find any more group boxes. Yeah, you see, general settings or just my code and these stuff. You see, it's like all group of controls or all similar group of options are grouped inside a group box. Okay, so this is quite important to have. Now in here I'm gonna just simply dock this control to the top, so it's gonna be stuck all the time to the top of my Windows application. So if I Control F5 this and you have a look at it, you see I have my group box is resized appropriately with my form. Okay, and let me see here. The tab index is bad. You know what is that? What a tab index is? You see, when I go to the nickname, if I'm a keyboard guy, so you are typing the nickname Mohammed whatever, and then when I hit the tab, as you can see here, I transfer to email. It is really annoying for the user to have this, so let us adjust it right away. So if I press F4 on the first text box, and of course I haven't named the control, so I have the job to name it as well, the tab index of that text box should be 0, which is the very first one, and it's gonna be a txt nickname, and this is gonna be txt first name. Let me put whatever, and then put the tab index to 1, so 0, 1. Family name is gonna be 2, and I will not rename this, so txt family name. Tab index of the phone is going to be 3, so 0, 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to be txt phone. And email is going to be as well txt email. Company name is going to be txt optional, because I'm going to make it either company name or birth date, depends. Of course I forgot this part, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is gonna be 5. Company name, since I'm gonna access it from code, I would like to name the label LBL optional, because this guy is gonna be renamed once I select an option from here. Alright, so let's run this application and have a look at it. And as you can see here, when I type something, tab, you see it's following the tab order nicely, so the user will not be annoyed by how I am inputting my data. Now in here I'm gonna add one small button, which is gonna be acting as add button. Okay, whatever, I'm gonna just put it right there, and I'm gonna call it btn add, which is gonna add a certain contact into my address book. So I'm gonna call this button add with 2 D's, and this is the tab index of this guy is 5. The tab index of that guy is 6. So this is great. So if I grab this right now, so tab, 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 and tab again, I get to the add button. So our user interface is, we can call it appropriately designed, but of course if I stretch that form, the button stays in its place. We're gonna solve these problems later, but for now I'm gonna just keep I'm just gonna lower the amount of options which we have to change, and I would like really to start writing the code right now, but first of all I would like really to finish the user interface, so I don't need to touch it back again. And speaking about not touching it again, if you look here, I can type text in my nickname, which is of course okay, the first name fine, but the phone, I have to type a number in here, not a text. Now there are a couple ways of doing it. You can handle the text, let's say you have to check if the text of that phone is actually an integer, a series of numbers, or a text, and if it is not a text, then say if it is not a number, then say it is an error or something like that. And this is like a little bit much code overhead. Now the easiest way to handle it is just simply grab the phone text box. I will delete it and I will insert instead a masked text box. Now a masked text box is really easy thing, and I'm gonna keep it as well the same, so I'm gonna call this txt phone, and this is gonna have 0, 1, 2, 3, so this is gonna be the tab index of 3. Now the coolest thing about the masked text box is that if you select that text here you go. If you select that masked text box, if you go to that button and you click on it, it will give you the option of setting the mask. So if I click set mask, I get an options of input masks. Now of course you have 5 numeric digits, phone number, which I need, phone number without an area code, and so on and so forth. Now I would like to have a phone number without an area code. Now of course in Bosnia here we use the area code, as well as we are having 6 numbers, so I'm gonna just take out this one. Okay, so in case you have a cell phone, you're gonna have this 06 whatever X is gonna be, so 06, 2, 3, 1, etc. And here, and then upcoming afterwards you get your in fact your phone number, and this is how the preview should look like. So once I hit OK, now watch this. I could type whatever text here, whatever text there, whatever text there, but I cannot type any text here. I can type only numbers, and I cannot exceed the net amount of number. Now you have to take my word for it. I'm trying to type numbers here, and nothing happens. So this is one thing. Now some of you say, okay, I would like to have the same thing for emails. Now no, you can't, because you have to write regular expressions. Or you can have an easier way of handling it. Just write a small function that, let's say, checks if the email is really it's really truly an email. So it has this @ sign and .com or whatever it is. So you can find it actually on the internet. There are a lot of tutorials, and you can even find that function already exists in there on the MSDN library. Alright, so let me close this. Now we have the ability of adding of typing in stuff without the need of thinking about handling exceptions and so on. Now for the time being, right now I'm quite satisfied with my form. Later on we're gonna expand it a little bit more, but let's right now write some code. Okay, yippee. Now file, when I say file new, and then when I hit professional contact, now first of all let me rename this. I'm gonna call this MN Pro Contact. So when this is the menu item of my professional contact, because the name of the control is really big, I like to rename my controls in my own way. So let me double click on that button, which is going to handle the click event. And here is the scenario which I have to do. Now let me type it for you over here, so instead of just only talking about it. First step, when a user wants to add a contact, number 0, add button is disabled, or should be disabled. So this is like in runtime. Okay, add button should be disabled. This is 1. This is 0. I mean, this is like the very first beginning. 1. First step. When the user chooses creating a new professional contact, so new professional contact, when that happens, enable the add button. Okay, let the user input all his stuff. 2. After clicking on the add button, disable it, so the user will not have the opportunity of clicking on the same button twice. So he adds the contact only once, but not twice. And oh yes, I forgot something. When I enable the button, change the label of the last, like the last one, the label which is this one. Okay, change that label text, change the label, label dot text into company name. Okay, now after adding a contact, we just simply disable the add button and we are good to go. Now if I'm trying to add the personal contact, of course in the runtime, add button should be still disabled. Disabled. 1. New personal contact. Once the user tries to create a personal contact, I'm gonna enable the add button, change the label dot text into birth date, and whatever I type in there, I'm gonna get the birth date. After clicking on the add button, disable it. Okay, so this is like both for the scenarios for adding a new contact. Let me minimize this. So I'm gonna come over here. When I choose a professional contact, I have to consider whatever comes here is gonna be a company name, and when I choose a personal contact, I have to say that whatever comes here is gonna be a birthday. Now here's one thing. I have only a single add button in here, and I have to differentiate between a personal contact and a professional contact. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna put a small Boolean variable which checks if the contact which I'm trying to add, if he is a professional contact, then I'm gonna create a new object of professional contact, and then like fill in the form, and then when I hit add, it will just simply pushes it into my hash table. If in case I have a personal contact, then that Boolean variable will be, I don't know, true or false, and then I will create a new object of a personal contact, and then like say everything. So in order to detect which button I have clicked, which type of contact I would like to create, I have just simply to put a Boolean variable to recognize this. Okay, so I'm gonna hit F7, going back to the code, and in here I'm gonna add a small Boolean variable. I'm gonna call it bool is professional. Okay, and a semicolon here. So if it is a professional contact or not. So excuse me. So once I click on professional contact, first of all, on the form, when the form runs, as we agreed on these steps, as you can see here, in runtime 0, the first thing is the button should be disabled. So this button I cannot click on. So here I'm gonna just say btn add.enabled equals to false. This is how to disable a button. Now if I click Control F5, as you can see here, the button is disabled. I cannot even touch it. Okay. Now the button should be disabled. I come over here and I say, once I click a new professional contact, I'll just say is professional equals to true. Okay. And btn add.enable equals to true. Right? So once I try to add a professional contact, I will say that the type of the contact which I'm trying to add is really a professional, so I'm setting it to true. Right now when I try to add a new, so by the way I just came to that button, I double clicked on it, so I handled the on click event, and I'm trying to add a new contact. I will just say if is professional equals to true, or if professional, okay, then add new professional contact. I'm actually gonna try to recreate a small function here. Let me just have it, please. There you go. Generate a method. And here I'm gonna just type the code of creating a new professional contact. Else, else add new personal contact, and I'm gonna generate that method as well. Now of course if you execute that, your application will just simply explode in your face if you don't erase these two lines of code. Now let me check here. Okay, now first of all, and of course the major important thing is, which I forgot, when creating a new professional contact, enable the add button and change the label text to company name. Alright, so I'm gonna come here, LBL optional dot text equals to company name and a colon. Oops, shift enter. Okay. Now I renamed this. Now let me show you again what we're gonna do here with the personal contact. So personal contact, and I would like to move this line of code upstairs. So in here I'm gonna do I'm gonna just even move it upstairs more, like here. So I'm gonna type in here almost the same thing. Now if I choose a personal contact, and as you can see here I forgot to rename my control, but okay, is professional. Now since I chosen a personal contact, it is not a professional contact obviously, so I'm gonna say is professional equals to false, btn add.enable equals to true, and LBL optional equals to is gonna be a birth date. Okay. Now, after I click the add button, and why I have cannot implicitly. Oh, sorry, I forgot dot text. Oh man. Okay, and here I'm gonna type in there btn dot enable equals to btn add equals to false. So this is related to that step. After clicking the add button, disable it. So after adding my professional contact or my personal contact in any way, once I finish these functions, by the end I'm going to execute that line of code. Now let me write a comment here. So this is summary. So when I put 3 forward slashes, I get automatically a summary for a certain property. So I'm just going to say here check boolean variable for checking if I am trying to add professional or personal contact. Now this is actually for you guys who likes, for example, like print the code and keep it at home and like to read the code without the video or after the video. So here's gonna be okay, I'm gonna type actually these comments later off the video, so in case just not to take your time and just watching this. So let me show you what I can do here. What is the result of what we have done here so far? So I'm going to comment these exceptions. So by default, when I run the application, when the user runs the application, you will get this window, and this add is disabled. If I hit File, New, Personal Contact, I will get the add button enabled. I will get the birth date, like the birth date text box enabled in here, and of course, I mean the label of the text label is changed, and whatever I'm going to type here is going to be the birth date. And if you know what, I can even have fun while I'm at it. Message box, a small little class which is really good, .show, and I'm gonna keep it really simple here. I'm gonna give it a title, which is gonna be an address book, and comma, and I'm gonna give it a message, so it's gonna be message is gonna be personal contact added, and in here I'm gonna paste this. Gonna be professional contact added. Now Control F5 this. Now watch this. Now if I hit File, New, Personal Contact, everything is birth date. Now if I hit Add, oh man, I've actually reversed it. Sorry about that. Let me cut this, paste it here, and it's gonna be a comma. Sorry about that, guys. Let me cut that, paste that here, and comma, and delete this. Control 5 again. Again, File, New, Professional Contact this time. When I hit Add, Professional Contact is added. And of course the button has been disabled afterwards. File, New, Personal Contact, birth date has been changed. When I hit the Add, you see Personal Contact added. Now, as you can see here, this is the best way to just simply, through this Boolean variable which I've created. Right now I could differentiate if the guy is trying to add a personal contact or a professional contact. Alright, so here let me try to add a personal contact. So I'm gonna create a new object of a personal contact. So personal, oops, let me see here. Yeah, I forgot. I have to add the business to this, the business layer. I have to add it into the references. Now, one of the interesting thing about this extension is that when I try to add a reference, I get a totally new window. And you can in fact select multiple stuff in the same time without opening and closing it back again like the old one. So if I go to Projects tab, Solution, I'm gonna add the business, double click on it, so it marks it. Of course you can remove it, so it's really easy through that extension. It's really nice. So I have the business here. I'm gonna have using business, and of course here let me try to add the professional contact. So sorry, personal contact. Personal contact. Personal equals to new personal contact. Now to be honest with you, I'm right now writing. There are a lot of there's gonna be an upcoming lesson which is gonna be like advanced tips and tricks in C#, which is gonna have as well gonna talk about object initializations. Right now this is too much amount of code I have to write. You see, I have to write, say, personal.email equals to this, personal, I don't know, first name equal to that, and so on and so forth. There's even a shorter, much better way of doing it, but I would like really to keep, since we are still beginning in C#, I would like really to keep everything just simple and flat. But I promise you there's gonna be a small video introducing you to some advanced stuff in C#, which is kind of cool tricks that you could use in your daily work in case you are working as a coder. Personal dot again, apparently I misspelled it. Personal dot nickname equals to, now nickname is a text, is a string in fact. Okay, so I'm gonna just say here txt nickname dot text, and that's it. So whatever text I type in my text box, I'm gonna assign it to the property of my personal contact object. Okay? As we have done with the labels, as we had done with the forms, I just simply, whatever I type in my text box in this nickname, I will just simply, in this nickname text box, I'm gonna just simply assign it to the nickname property of my object. Let's go further. Personal dot, I like to go by order. I don't like to go like, you know, separate. So first name, family name, phone, and email. Okay. First name, first name equals to txt first name. Oh man, txt first name dot text personal dot family name equals to txt family name dot text. Oops, and let's say personal dot, I believe it was phone at the beginning, equals to txt phone dot text, and personal dot email equals to txt email dot text, and personal dot birthday equals to txt optional dot text. Sorry. Oh man. Alright. So right now we have generated our object. Okay, so our object is there, and we have assigned to it all its properties. Right now what we can do is just simply assign, add this personal contact to the address book. Now, of course we don't have an address book object, so once we create the form, I'm going to go upstairs right now. In the main form constructor, once the form is created, I will add a new address book. I'll just generate a new address book. So I'm going to say address book, sorry, I have to create it as a variable in there. So it's going to be address book equals to new address book. Okay, so once the form is created, I'll get automatically a new object of an address book. Okay, which I can actually fill it with something which I opened from a file, or save it to a file if I wanted to, which I'm going to show you as a bonus lesson at the end. Which is, by the way, I'm going to show you how to serialize to XML. It is actually not required from you in this course. It's just for fun. It's just fun to know or to learn about it. So it's not a requirement. Personal address book dot add contact, and then I have to now type the name of the contact. So personal. Now, of course, there's a small problem. Let me generate a small error like this. Now I'm trying to add the same personal contact twice. So I'm gonna come here, file, new, personal contact, and I'll hit add. I don't care. Now see, nickname already exists because I've added an empty nickname, and again I've added an empty nickname. So I get a problem over here. Now, as you can see here, this is the worst problem that can ever happen to you as a programmer. You never let the user see such an exception. Unhandled exception, this is a horrible thing. You have to handle all the exceptions in your application. You have to generate exceptions as needed as possible, and you have to handle all of these exceptions which you have generated or which you have thrown. Okay? Because users will never understand this. Okay? Users would like to see error number and would like to see the text of the error, what is the problem with it. Okay? So in order to handle an exception, as we said already before, you have to surround it in a try-catch block. So try, and here's a small nice trick in C#. When you type try, just hit double tap. So tap, tap. As you can see here, right now I can handle an exception. Now, there are a lot of forms of how to catch an exception, to be honest with you. I mean, you have excuse me, you have try, catch, and finally, and there are even a little bit more formats to catching and all those stuff, which I really don't want to dig into much in here. But excuse me, you have an exception, because an exception which I thrown in here, you see, throw new exception. This new exception is an object. So you see, when I say new exception, I created a new object of an exception. I just simply threw it out. Now, if you're gonna catch that exception, I can catch it as well in an object. You see, catch exception EX, let's say. Right now, whatever exception, excuse me, whatever exception that's gonna be generated from here, I'm gonna hold it in an object which is called EX right there. So here, I'm just gonna say message box dot show, and then I will just simply say the string, the text, the message which I'm gonna say, which is gonna be ex dot message. Excuse me. And I always like to label my text box, so I'm gonna call it address book. Okay, and I'll cut this, paste it over here. So in case if my address book was successfully added, the personal contact was successfully added to my address book, then I'm gonna show this. Let me compile and run this. Let me first generate that error again. Excuse me. So, file, new, personal contact, add. You see, this nickname already exists right away, and as you can see here, here's the title of my message box. Now, of course, this haven't been executed, by the way, so my personal contact hasn't been added. But if you would like to see more options, let's say I would like to add an icon to it. So you have, as far as I remember, the constructor message box buttons dot OK only, message box icon dot error. And let's compile and run this. File, new, personal contact, and add. As you can see here, I got a new nice icon over here, which is called, you know, which remarks for an error. If you would like to add icons, let's say, I don't know, information, or let me just erase this. So information and exclamation mark and so on and so forth. You have all this into your applications. Feel free to use it. This is like a little bit expanded constructor, by the way. You can have OK cancel, but of course it's meaningless in this application right now. So personal add, you see I got OK and cancel. In the future we're gonna see how we can handle such a thing, which is kind of easy. It's really easy. So how to know if the user pressed cancel or OK, or how the user choose no instead of yes, and so on and so forth. We're gonna see that in a later lesson. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep this as OK. I'm gonna just put this into a new line so it will be easier to manage. Now, of course, here I could have let me just make it here a sentence case. Message box buttons dot OK, and here's gonna be message box icon dot information, because it's for your information. We successfully have added something. So let me just erase this. Control F5. Now I've been blabbing about the keyboard shortcut keys. Instead of going to personal contact, Control Shift N. As you can see here, I got the birth date, add. You see, personal contact added. So, or added successfully, or something like that. You can manage it. Now the same exact code will apply to the professional contact. The only thing which is going to be changed is this class is going to be changed, of course, and of course this is going to be changed, and that's it, pretty much it. So let me collapse this, and real quick I would like to copy this because it's pretty much the same. So I really like to add this, and I'm gonna grab this text. Oh, paste it over here. Oh well, professional contact, that's it. Of course the catch has to be closed. Right, personal button, okay, editors book, messages, okay, fine. Now instead of personal contact, I'm gonna change this to professional contact. And this was a way to rename this, but I'm gonna rename it like this: personal professional. Yes, sir. Instead of birthday, it's gonna be a company name, and we are fine. So right now I could successfully add a personal contact and a professional contact. So Control N, add professional contact added successfully. Control Shift N, birth date has been renamed. Add. Oh, nickname already exists. So let me try to add this again. Control Shift N, and let me say Mohammed and add. Personal contact added. If I say Control N, if I add, personal contact already exists with this nickname. Now of course you can start checking before of course adding a personal contact if the nickname already exists or the phone already exists, because I will not allow in my application to somebody add a nickname which is empty and without a phone which is empty. This is gonna be ridiculous. I mean, why are you gonna have a personal contact without a phone, or a professional contact without a phone, or without a nickname, whatever? Because nickname is the unique identifier for me to identify that person in my hash table or in my dictionary. So I really need to keep track of my personal contact and professional contacts, nicknames and phone numbers, because this is the way where I know how to delete an information. So if I would like to delete a personal contact or a professional contact, I have to use the nickname part, and every nickname should have at least a phone number assigned to it. So I could come here in the add personal contact. So if txt nickname doesn't equal to string.empty and txt phone dot text, sorry, I have to put this dot text as well, doesn't equal to string.empty, then if both of them are not empty, then try to execute this code and tab. Okay, else message box to show. I'm gonna grab this error. I'm just gonna say, now if you are a real programmer, you are a real programmer, I wanna say, if you are really into it, you can create a new class of your own exceptions and say, okay, throw a new text box is empty exception, whatever, and then you can handle it on your own. So show, so you're gonna say nickname or phone fields are empty or are required if you want to. Okay, let me tab those so to align them with the other properties if you wanted to. So it's gonna be like this. So as you can see here, if both of these guys are not empty, then I'm gonna execute this. Else you just simply say they are empty, and then you have to try again. And in all cases we have to disable the button which happens here, so we are okay. So let me Control F5 this. Now let me try to add, so let me say Control N, or excuse me, Control Shift N, and when I say add, nickname or phone fields are required, so I can just say Control Shift N, Mohammed, name phone is gonna be whatever, and when I say add, personal contact added, so we are fine. And the same thing I would like to add for this guy, so I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it over here, and let me just hit the delete key and try to wrap this around the if statement like this. Excuse me. So, and the else, I'm gonna grab the same else, which is under the if. There you go. You see, sometimes it's really useful right now, these line indentation, although it could be disturbing like this, but they are really useful in case you have to follow up which ones is under what. So okay, so we are fine. So if I hit Control F5 again, let's test our application. Always test your application. Professional contact add required. Type Mohammed again. Texts. Oh, did I press Control N? There you go. Hit add. Professional contact added. So we are fine. Now we could successfully add to the address book, and if you are not sure about it, we can in fact see how much contacts we have in our address book. Let's see here what kind of functions do I have over here for my address book. Search by name, search by family name. Oh yeah, and return. I could just say have a public function which returns an integer address book size, and then I will just simply say how much do I have in my currently address book. So I'm just going to say return this dot address book dot count, and this will return to me how many accounts or how many addresses or how many contacts I have in my address book. So let me hold on a second, let me first update my application. So after adding every one, I'm just gonna show a small message box, message box dot show, and I'm gonna type in here the message, which this is like a debugging message. Okay, so I'm gonna say here address book dot address book size dot to string. Sorry, I have to, it's a function. Let me do this. Dot to string, and that's it. Okay, I could label it like, if you want to, and it could be good for you to enable it like address book debug message. Okay. So after adding every address book, so every contact, so I'm gonna add Mohammed and something, add 1. So whatever, something with a phone number that is something else, whatever, and Control Shift N. For now, I'm gonna hit add. Personal contact added, and I have 2 people in my address book. If I would like something 2, whatever, 3, Control Shift N, add is gonna be 3. So our address book application really works, and I have really data inside. So this is quite promising. Now, of course, we can write the code for clearing out these text boxes. Now, to be honest with you, it is really easy to do. You can just simply make a small function which is called clear control. And you say for every control of these, just say equals to a string.empty, and then you can empty the whole thing. So if you have like you're gonna have a small function called clear controls, which is gonna have sorry, it's a void function, and you say, I don't know, txt nickname dot text equals to string dot empty, and right now whatever, and then when I call that function, whenever I call it, it will just simply clear out the text box. Now you can do it for all text boxes if you wanted to, and that's it. If you wanted to, let me show you a small trick over here. Just organize these guys. Now if you hold down the Alt key and you click left mouse button, click and drag, you can form a box of selection. Usually when you try to select something, you select it like this. But when you hold the Alt key, now you force it to make a small box over there. Okay, so let me make a small box selection. And I can come over here, oops, sorry, and I just simply Control V this. Now, of course, I can just say string.empty, copy this, paste it, paste it, paste it, paste it, and paste it. Now when I, for example, after adding a contact, I can just simply say clear controls, and then when I Control F5 this, when I try whatever I fill in my information with, like this over here, and this, so let me say Control N, and after I hit add, everything just simply deletes. So we knew how to, for example, clear out the text boxes. There are even much more. There's even more programmatic way to do this, but probably I'm going to show it to you in that video of these tricks which you can do. But basically, right now we can actually add to our address book stuff. Now, what we need to implement later on, I mean, on the next video, we're going to have to implement how to remove a contact from our contacts list and how to find a contact in our contacts list. And right now we're going to see multiple forms are coming in handy. Let's say I would like to open a small form excuse me, and we can see we can actually use we can actually pass information between two forms and so on and so forth. I believe I'm gonna stop right here. So, and the next lesson what we're gonna add is remove find. Of course I'm gonna show you how to add this about box, and I'm gonna add here a small data grid view where we can see all of our contacts which we have added so far in our address book. Okay, thanks a lot and see you